A very good afternoon. It's the 8th of December 2022. Welcome to Lunchtime News here on TV1 for the Newsfirst team, where the people come first. I'm Sanitha Senanayaka. Before we take a look at the stories that we've got for you this afternoon in detail, let's take a look at the headlines.
The final vote on the 2023 budget today. Trade unions and mass organizations protest against budget. Air quality across multiple cities dropped to unhealthy levels. Partly stresses against privatization of hydropower plants. Peru's parliament ignores dissolution, impeaches and arrests president for a coup.
On to your top story this afternoon, Colombo's air quality had dropped to an unhealthy level. Newsfirst's Rochelle Tumodara brings us more details.
The Colombo Air Quality Index has increased further towards an unhealthy level. The National Building Research Organisation said that the AQI across many cities in Sri Lanka ranged between 150 to 200, which is an unhealthy level. The AQI reports on how clean or polluted the air in your area is and what effects breathing the outdoor air might have on your health. These pollutants are ground level ozone, particle pollution, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide.
For the past few days, Colombo and many cities across the country have been experiencing a smog, which is not considered to be a natural occurrence. I'm currently reporting to you from opposite the Bear Lake, where the smog is clearly visible. Now, according to the AQI reports, the statistics range between 150 and 200, which is not a healthy level to be in. Now, this even has the possibility of posing health risks to the people. For the Newsfirst team, I am Rochelle Tumodara reporting to you from Colombo.
To bring you a better insight into this story, we've decided to invite an expert on the topic, Mr. Sarath Premasiri. He is a senior scientist at the Environmental Division of the National Building Research Organisation. Mr. Sarath, thank you very much for joining us.
It's okay.
Let me first ask you, what is this smog that we're experiencing, Mr. Premakirti? Because we've seen it in Colombo. Is this smog being pushed? Somehow linked to the smog in India, and is it being pushed towards us by a cyclone?
Yes, depending on the wind pattern to the Sri Lanka, normally once the winds in this season, monsoon period, winds are coming from the northeast directions. And due to this cyclone system, you can see here also due to the cyclone system, the winds are now flowing from the Indian side to Sri Lanka all over the country. The levels winds are going through the country. So we know the Indian side there are some air pollution situation. Those pollutants, especially small particulates like PM 2.5 particulates, are coming from India side to Sri Lanka. Then it's spread all over the country, and especially in urban areas, we have look at that the high pollution levels. Normally levels are 2 times higher than our standard testing.
So now we are already at an unhealthy level. Does that mean residents will have to stay inside their houses?
Especially this situation is not affected to all, but it is critical for the health conditions with the say the respiratory systems. In fact, like asthmatic peoples and small children, like those things will be affected with this, but it is not to all. Depending on the condition, they will get some breathing problems due to this bad air quality.
Mr. Premasiri, in what areas, residents of which areas should they be particularly cautious of this? People particularly in Colombo, or?
Not actually only Colombo, all urban area people, maybe Jaffna, Vaunia, Putlam, Kandy, Kegol, then Kurunegala, Colombo, like those all urbanized area people has to be concerned about this and take precautions to protect with this situation.
Finally, Mr. Premasiri, what other implications does this smog have?
Mainly the asthmatic conditions are the present situation for the people, and also the environment. If it is smoke is high, then visibility is reduced, then it can be affected to some birds and all other peoples, other animals as well, due to the visibility problems. It is also coming with this situation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Premasri, for joining us and giving an insight into this topic to our audience. Now let's take a look at what the Met Department had to say about this situation.
The Department of Meteorology says the deep depression over southeast Bay of Bengal has concentrated into a cyclone storm Mandus and located near latitude 9.2 north and longitude 84.6 east at 11:30 p.m. yesterday. It is likely to move west-northwestwards and cross North Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry and South Andhra Pradesh coast over the southwest Bay of Bengal in the night tomorrow. Showers will occur at times in the northern, north central and eastern provinces. Heavy rainfall above 100 millimeters can be expected at some places in the northern province and Trincomalee districts. Naval and fishing communities are advised not to venture into the deep and shallow sea areas of the coast extending from Mannar to Potuville via Kankasanturai, Trincomalee and Batiklo and southwest Bay of Bengal until further notice.
Meanwhile, the Bibila Divisional Secretariat reported that around 20 houses were damaged by gale winds.
Newsfirst correspondents reported that gale winds were experienced since early morning on Thursday. Several houses located in Madagama, Mallava, Ethanavatta, Madavatta and Karagahavela were damaged. Several trees along the Bibile-Munragala main road were also uprooted by gale winds. Several farmlands in Galahagama in Valley Mada were also damaged by gale winds.
In more local news, trade unions and mass organizations continued with their protests on Thursday. Public and private sector employees representing various fields are participating in these mass protests in line with the protest day.
This series of protests is being staged all across the island with the theme that the oppressive budget should be defeated in Parliament. The junior staff of the Colombo National Hospital protested from morning to noon.
Parliament no longer represents the needs of the people. This is being passed in Parliament because there is also a conspiratorial government. We are protesting this today. We won't let this be implemented. We cannot let them sell the state entities.
The Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation staff launched their protest in front of the Fort Railway Station.
පසුගිය වසරේ බිලියන 10.41ක් මේ මහා භාණ්ඩාගාරයට.
Last year also 10.41 billion rupees were given to this treasury to give concessions to the people for the health and education sectors. Therefore, we are clearly telling the Ranil Rajapaksa government to immediately stop this practice of selling.
The Sri Lanka Telecom staff also came in front of Fort Railway Station and joined the protest organised by the Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation.
Venerable Dr. Valava Hangunavave Dhammaratana Thero, the chief incumbent of the Mihintale Rajama Vihara, stressed on the importance of saving the country from the grasp of corrupt politicians.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා රජයට සිය කටයුතු පවත්වාගෙන යාම සඳහා දිනකට රුපියල් කෝටි 1050ක මුදලක් ලෝකෙට ණය වෙන්න සිදු වෙලා තියෙනවා. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ 225 දෙනෙක් ඉන්නව නේද? මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙකුට හම්බ වෙනවා මේ 60000.
In order for the government of Sri Lanka to function, it must bear a cost of 10,500 million rupees daily. There are 225 members of parliament. One MP gets 60,000 rupees with a telephone allowance of 10,000 rupees, a fuel allowance of 100,000 rupees, and the value of the official vehicle given to them is 16.6 million rupees. They also get another 30,000 rupees for stationery with 75,000 rupees to use a photocopy machine. The prices of these items may even be higher now. They also get an office PC for 150,000 rupees, followed with a water allowance of 10,000 rupees and an electricity allowance of 10,000 rupees. The rent for their official residence is 75,000 rupees. They each get 3 office telephones. However, they fail to answer a single one of them through the allowance of that 50,000 rupees. One MP get 10 permits for liquor stores or taverns. They each get 10 permits and they cannot deny that. 10 million rupees is given for a filling station as commission. Each MP has 10 staff and they are family members. In total, a member of parliament gets 1.5 million rupees to spend. This is in addition to the corruption, fraud and commissions. Therefore, to maintain these 225 MPs is over 330 million rupees per month. Won't this lead the country to bankruptcy? Thereafter, they have the Deputy Minister, State Minister, Cabinet Minister, Prime Minister and President. We don't have proper food, medicine, money, electricity, water, fuel and cooking gas. We have achieved everything in the negative and zero in the positive. The rulers who came after 1948 have dropped this country to the very bottom. All the people and the religious leaders must understand that these politicians are playing a game and they are toying with the lives of the people. Parliament has become a joker's box. Up here are people suffering from chronic kidney disease, high blood pressure and other ailments. The rulers of this country are toying with the lives of these people. The prices of goods and services are skyrocketing. However, they increased their insurance policy by 500%. If we are hoping that the existing 225 MPs will bring a new president, government, that is wrong. Because the same game will be played by the new lot. We need new laws. The youth must bring a new government where the looted monies will be recovered. This country must reform. If not, nepotism will reign and everything will pass down to their families alone. We had political parties, but not anymore. We thought successive governments will do something good, but nothing transpired.
පාර්ලිමේන්තු යනපනක් ජෙල්ලා නීති ගෙනල්ලා මේ රට හැදිය යුතුයි නැත්තම් මුන්දලාට තාත්තගෙන් පුතාට පුතාගෙන් බාප්පට මහප්පට මුත්තර නත්තා පනත්තා කිත්තා කිරිකිත්තා ඔක්කොටම දේශපාලන අපිට වැරදුනා.
Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Wednesday justified the Indian government's support to Sri Lanka, saying India would be shrinking its responsibility if it did not step forward to support a crisis-hit neighbour.
One about our abstention in the UN Human Rights Commission. This has been a long-standing position by India, keeping in mind what not just this government but its predecessor governments have also thought is the most constructive way of addressing and advancing the interests of the Tamil community in Sri Lanka. That continues to be our approach. Regarding the support we have given to Sri Lanka, please, I would request the honourable member to appreciate. We have given support to the entirety of Sri Lanka, which also includes the Tamil community, the Sinhalese community, the other communities. So we have not taken a communal approach to giving support. To have a neighbour in this kind of serious economic situation, we would be shirking our responsibilities if we did not step forward at that moment, and that is exactly what we have done.
In some news from Parliament, heated exchanges took place in Parliament with regard to the restructuring of the Ceylon Electricity Board and the proposed tariff hike. The cabinet announced twice that the electricity tariff will be increased. The people cannot bear this burden anymore. Although the ruler do not understand this, the people are extremely disappointed. The people are in hunger, and I would request you to openly state that the proposal to increase the tariff will be withdrawn.
පිළිවිල වැඩි කිරීම වහාම නතර කරන යෝජනාව මම ඔබතුමාට කියනවා එලිපිටම මේ සභාවේ අද ප්‍රකාශයක් කරන්න.
ලංකා විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලය රුපියල් බිලියන 304ක සමුච්චිත අලාභයක් වාර්තා කර.
The Ceylon Electricity Board has recorded a loss of 304 billion rupees and must also settle a debt of 147 billion rupees to the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, state banks and independent electricity suppliers. Given the situation, the government is working on restructuring the CEB. The cabinet also appointed a special committee for this purpose and decided to implement the recommendations made by them. Accordingly, a new Electricity Act will be introduced. It is also proposed to establish 8 companies for the generation, transmission and distribution of electricity. All worker rights will be protected and voluntary retirement scheme will be introduced as well.
ස්වේච්ඡා විශ්‍රාම ගැනීමේ ව්‍යාපෘතියක්ද ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනු ඇත.
මේ කමිටු යෝජනා අනුව ලංකා විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලය කොම්පැනි 18කට වෙන් කරනවා.
According to the recommendation of the committee, the Ceylon Electricity Board will be divided into 18 separate companies. The Lakshapana Hydropower Plant on the Kalani River, the Mahavali River-based hydropower plants, the Samanala Vava-based hydropower plants, Putlam Power Plant, Kalanithissa and related thermal power plants, Mana Solar Wind Power Plant are the main power plants. Power plants were constructed along the Kalani River not for the generation of electricity alone. The same goes for the Mahavali River as well. These were also constructed for water consumption and irrigation activities. If these are privatized as companies, they will only prioritize the generation of electricity. The Lakshapana power plant generates a unit of electricity for 2 rupees and 41 cents. The Mahavali generates a unit of electricity for 2 rupees and 70 cents. The Samanala generates a unit of electricity for 3 rupees and 68 cents. When these go to the market, there is a high demand for the power plants that generate electricity at a low cost. Hydropower will reach the level of thermal power. Therefore, I request this matter be studied by Parliament properly. It is proposed to replace the PUCSL with a separate entity. Hydropower was introduced to control the electricity system in the country. It cannot be given to one company alone. The privatization of these power plants is a serious national security issue. This is similar to the breakaway of the Soviet Union. The CEB has prepared 12 separate scenarios. They have calculated that 47 gigawatts are required per day. On the 5th of December, it took only 35.5 gigawatts. When we look at the cost, for 47 gigawatts, it is 790 million rupees. However, for 35 gigawatts, it is only 370 million rupees. I propose that an independent study be conducted along with the PUCSL.
ඒක නිසා මේ පිළිබඳව විධිමත් ආකාරයේ පරීක්ෂණයක් ස්වාධීන කණ්ඩායමක් මගින් සිදු කළ යුතුයි මහජන උපයෝගිතා කොමිසමත් එක්ක කියලා මම බලශක්ති ඇමතුමාට යෝජනා කරනවා. අපේ සමනල වැව මහවැලි
The Samanala Vava, Mahavali, Lakshapana and Nochole plants have been proposed to be set up as separate companies in a bid to increase the efficiency and to maintain all these power plants as state-owned property. That is the policy. However, it proposes the abolishment of the PUCSL and appoints separate regulatory bodies for these plants. The former Power and Energy Minister is trying to link this to recent power generation as the daily demand. However, when it rains a lot, the usage is less. When there are power cuts, the generation is also low. The CEB believes that all industries must operate by next year. Tourism must develop and there needs to be continuous electricity supply without any power cuts. This report was prepared by the CEB engineers, management team and all units. They assume electricity usage will increase by at least 1% by next year.
එකකින් ලබන අවුරුද්දේ විදුලියේ භාවිතාව තව වැඩි වෙයි කියලා උපකල්පනය කරලා හදපු දෙයක්.
The Sirasa Shakti Potyatra book donation drive launched to support the academic activities of school students who have been battered by the economic crisis got underway on Thursday.
The Sirasa Shakti Potyatra book donation drive will continue until the 24th of December and you can donate exercise books, colouring books, pencils, pastels, rulers and colour pencils among others to the following collection points. Head Office of the Capital Maharaja Group in Colombo 2, the Panama Studio Complex, Stein Studios Ratmalana, Echelon Square in Colombo, Candy City Centre. The stationery items that you donate will be delivered directly to the children during Christmas.
In international news, Peru swore in a new president on Wednesday after a day of political drama that saw leftist leader Pedro Castillo arrested after his ousting from office in an impeachment trial following his last-ditch bid to cling to power by dissolving Congress.
Ignoring Castillo's attempt to shut down the legislature by decree, lawmakers moved ahead with a previously planned impeachment trial with 101 votes in favor of removing him and 6 against and 10 abstentions. The result was announced to loud cheers, and the legislature called on Vice President Dina Boliat to take office. The 60-year-old Boliat was sworn in as president through 2026, making her the first woman to lead Peru. She called for a political truce after months of instability, including 2 prior impeachment attempts, and said a new cabinet inclusive of all political strips would be formed. The public ministry said on Wednesday evening that Castillo had been detained and accused of the crimes of rebellion and conspiracy for breaking the constitutional order. Television outlets said Castillo leaving a police station and reported he would be moved to a police-run prison.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. For more details on these stories, you can log on to our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. For the Newsfirst team, I've been Senita Senanayake. Take care and stay safe.